The doctor handed me a crumpled note with shaky hands, his eyes wide with something I couldn't place. "Don't go home, Run," it said. I laughed it off at first, thinking it was some kind of joke. But by the time nightfall came, and I found the second note on my doorstep, my blood ran cold. Something was out there, something watching me, waiting. And it was already too late to escape. I woke up feeling a strange sense of dread that I couldn't shake off. The morning light filtered through the blinds, casting thin strips of warmth on the floor. I stretched, yawning deeply, but something felt off. The silence was too heavy, the stillness too thick, as if the world was holding its breath. The previous day had been ordinary enough. At least, that's how I had convinced myself. But the memory of the doctor's words echoed in my mind like a sharp, dissonant note. "Don't go home, Run." I had gone in for a routine checkup, nothing serious. The doctor, a seasoned man with sharp eyes and a weary expression, had run some tests, told me everything looked fine. It was a brief appointment. But at the end, when I was about to leave, he handed me the note, a simple piece of paper folded in half, my name written hastily across the front. "Take this and leave," he had whispered. "Don't go home, Run." I had thought it was some kind of joke, maybe a prank. The sterile white walls of the clinic, the soft hum of fluorescent lights. Nothing about it seemed out of place. But I couldn't ignore the gnawing feeling that something was wrong. The doctor's eyes were wide with fear, and his voice trembled just slightly as he spoke Dort at first. I'd brushed it off. I'd laughed, crumpled the note into my pocket, and gone about my day. But as the sun sank lower, my unease grew. My phone buzzed in my pocket, and I pulled it out without thinking. It was from Claire. Double quotes. "Hey, you all right? You didn't mention anything about your appointment earlier." It was just a simple message, but it set my mind racing. Claire was my best friend, and I hadn't told her much about the doctor's visit. I felt a sudden urge to talk to her, but something held me back. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, unsure of what to say. I wanted to call her, to explain everything, but the words didn't come. I had just put my phone down when the doorbell rang. My heart skipped a beat. I wasn't expecting anyone. I wasn't expecting anything. I looked through the peephole, but no one was there. Only the dim, empty hallway. I stepped back, unsure, then heard the soft rustle of paper by the door. I opened it quickly, heart pounding, and there, on the welcome mat, was another note. My name, scrawled across the surface in the same hurried handwriting from before. "Run. It's already too late." The note fluttered in the wind as I picked it up, my mind racing. The chill creeping into my bones had nothing to do with the weather outside. I glanced around, my eyes darting across the shadows. I thought I saw movement in the corner of my vision, but when I turned, no one was there. Something was terribly wrong. I slammed the door shut and locked it, then backed away from it as if I expected it to burst open. My mind whirled, replaying the doctor's words. "Don't go home, Ron." What had he meant by that? Why was he telling me to run? I had to call Claire. I had to tell her something, anything, to make sense of this. But when I dialed her number, the call didn't go through. There was no ring, no connection. Just silence. I tried again. And again. Nothing. My breath quickened. This couldn't be real. I wanted to dismiss it, tell myself it was all a sick joke, but every instinct inside me screamed to listen. The door, the notes, the warning from the doctor, everything pointed to something far darker than I was willing to admit. I grabbed my keys, shoving them into my pocket. I wasn't sure where I was going, but I couldn't stay here. I couldn't stay in this house, with its thickening air and heavy silence. The streets outside were eerily quiet. The world felt muted, as if it had been swallowed by some unseen force. I walked quickly, my steps faster than usual, a nagging sense that something was behind me pushing me forward. A car passed, its headlights briefly illuminating the sidewalk, but there was no one inside. The driver's seat was empty. I quickened my pace. It was as if the world had been emptied, leaving only me in the midst of a strange, overwhelming silence. I turned down a side street and found myself walking into unfamiliar territory. The neighborhood felt off. The houses were too quiet, the windows too dark. Every inch of the place seemed wrong, like a dream that had gone sour. I pulled out my phone again, hoping for a signal. Nothing. My hands were clammy. It wasn't just that I couldn't get in touch with Claire. I couldn't reach anyone. And the silence around me, there was something wrong with it. Like the world was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. I stopped in my tracks. Across the street, at the far end of the block, there was a figure. A person standing perfectly still, watching me. I couldn't make out their face, but they were tall, cloaked in a dark jacket that seemed to swallow the dim light. They weren't moving, just standing there, staring. I hesitated, my heart pounding in my chest, then turned and hurried in the opposite direction. I needed to get away, but I didn't know where to go. The world felt like it was closing in on me. I turned another corner, hoping for something familiar, something that would ground me. But the streets seemed to stretch on endlessly, twisting and turning in ways I didn't recognize. I was lost. And then I heard footsteps, not my own. Someone else's, heavy, deliberate. I whipped around, but no one was there. I was alone. My breath came in shallow gasps, the cold air biting at my skin. It felt like the walls were closing in on me, the space around me growing tighter with every passing second. I broke into a run, my feet pounding against the pavement. I didn't know where I was going, but I had to get away from whatever was following me. The footsteps were louder now, closer, like they were right behind me. But when I looked, no one was there. I turned down another street, stumbling slightly, my vision blurred with fear. And then I saw a building in the distance. It looked like an old warehouse, abandoned and forgotten. I made my way toward it, praying it would offer me some kind of refuge. The door creaked as I pushed it open, the sound echoing in the stillness. Inside, the air was thick with dust, the faint smell of decay lingering in the corners. I didn't care. I just needed to hide. I found a small room in the back, the door barely visible behind a pile of old crates. I huddled inside, pressing my back against the wall, trying to quiet my breath. The silence was overwhelming, but it felt safer than being outside. I sat there for what felt like hours, but no one came. No one followed. Eventually I leaned back, exhaustion finally catching up with me. I closed my eyes, trying to make sense of everything that had happened. The doctor's warning, the strange notes, the feeling of being hunted, it all swirled together, a puzzle I couldn't solve. But then, through the silence, I heard something. A faint sound, almost imperceptible at first. A whisper, followed by a soft knock. Then another whisper. I strained to hear. Come out. It's not over. The voice wasn't familiar, but it was enough to send a chill through my spine. It was close. Too close. I held my breath, trying not to move. My heart was pounding in my chest, the fear choking me. The door creaked open, and I froze. Standing in the doorway was the figure from earlier, the one who had been watching me. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. Their eyes, hidden beneath the shadows of their hood, were enough to convey everything. It wasn't over.